Ronika and I have become friends. Our children are swimmers, and they have been swimming well over 10 years. They grew up together in the pool, it seems.
I like to go to the meets. I wasn't the most social of parents, but I wasn't the least social of parents. But Drienna has very good energy, and sometimes we go to meets and we're sitting next to each other the whole time.
On March 7th, 2023, myself and Ronika, we were at Lawrence North High School for the senior night for the swim team for our daughters. It was our senior banquet.
Got in the building and I just started coughing as soon as I got in there. So I sat kind of away from where most of the parents were sitting, saying, I know coughing grosses people out, and didn't really interact with anyone. And was trying to keep my cough as low as I could.
And I had sat behind her, and she was sitting to the right. And so I just listened to her cough, and she had her mask. And I know she had a history of asthma, but it just seemed a little bit wetter and just a little bit more persistent.
Drienna comes up from behind. I was like, I didn't even see you here. And she didn't explain to me that she was sitting behind me then. I was like, I didn't even know you're here. And she asked me for a ride. I said, you can get a ride for me, but I don't know why I can't stop coughing. And I recall stopping at least 2 or 3 times before we got out of the building, just to catch my breath.
Once we got to her vehicle, she had to literally hold on to the door. And I said, you don't look too good. Let me drive. No, I haven't. No, I can drive. No, you really should let me drive. We need to go to the hospital because you're just coughing. You just don't look too good. And she says, I'm sure it's just my asthma. I have this. I can go. I can drive. And so she was very persistent.
I remember my last words being, why can't I breathe? Why can't I breathe? And lights out.
Within seconds of me calling 911, she actually coded, not even within 20-second period from that point. I had to pull her out. She was not responsive at all. So I tried to guard her fall as best I could so that she wouldn't fall directly on her face. But I tilted her so that she can just fall, but she ended up hitting the right side of her forehead, which made contact to the ground first, and she pivoted, and I turned her over. The 911 dispatcher was aware of everything. And I did check for a pulse. There really was no pulse, but I didn't need to look for a pulse. I knew what I saw in the vehicle prior to her having her cardiac event. As a provider working in emergency medicine, we would have to do CPR quite a bit. But when you have a person that you love that's in front of you, you know, it's not a beautiful picture. I just kept saying, Lord, please be with her. Please bring her back. Because she was really gone. And she was gone. And I just kept doing the compressions as long as I could. And I wasn't going to stop until they got there. When I initially started, there was no pulse, but then when the paramedics did get there, they did find a pulse. The compressions were very effective, apparently, and she was in ICU when they came. Her pulse was really weak and thready, and the heart rate was in the 20s. And they discovered that she had some other things, some other medical history, and had pneumonia in both of her lungs and some other areas within her heart that needed to be addressed later on that we were not aware of the severity. But she was at the right place at the right time to discover that her cardiac events were a little bit more extensive than we had first known.
I knew I'd almost died, and I think seeing Drienna come to visit me and look at the pain that she had gone through, look at my mom, look at my daughters, look in their eyes, and realize that's how serious it was, because most people don't ever get to see, you know, those kind of expressions because they're not here any longer, right? People have called Drienna my angel, but I can't put into words just how you could call it luck, you could call it blessed, or whatever you want to call it, that she was there, because everybody was gone. I pulled into a full parking lot, left, got out to the car. It was the last car there.
I'm grateful that we are friends, and we're even closer now than ever, and we will always be connected because we share that special moment in time.